When you look at a crisis of this magnitude, it's one of the most tragic humanitarian crises in recent history. And people tend to forget the political dimension, tend to forget the context of that. Basically, what you have here is a regime that has oppressed its people, that has essentially used chemical weapons against its people. And this has to stop.
First, we can stop bombing Syria, which only adds to the internally displaced persons, the refugees, and the dead and wounded. So the other is to really for their communities at large to understand and appreciate that this is the largest refugee problem in the world today.
I think that if you've heard the discussion here this morning, you'll realize how difficult that is, because there are so many different groups and bodies and political interests and social and economic interests in this, what's going on besides the whole war. And we want to see the people inside and people outside working together. And I think, as we'd heard from several of our interlocutors, that even the ones outside are not working together, of course, and there's so many needs. So that's what we think. It would be really helpful if we could get the groups inside together, and the many persons that are interested in are intervening in the struggle, the war, really. And that's what we say. We need to end the conflict, so that's what we need to do first, and then go on to see how we can rebuild Syria, or the Syrians can rebuild Syria, which is what's really important.
Now that we're beyond the 7-year mark of the Syria crisis, the major challenges are similar to what they've been over the past few years, and it depends on whether they are refugees or IDPs. For the refugees, the major challenges have been access to jobs, to livelihoods, access to education for children, continuing to get their health needs addressed. The typical needs for their future. For the internally displaced, the issues there largely resolve around security. Unfortunately, this is a war that continues to go on, and we see people being displaced multiple times as the war moves, as different areas become under siege or become liberated. So security is what they need first and foremost.
Well, it's very important for children to learn how to read and write to start with. Without reading and writing, they cannot go any further in terms of their education, learning skills, becoming technologically savvy. So it's the basis. But after that, once they have learned, then they are less likely to fall into trouble, to be used by predators who use those children for crimes, to be abused by others, to be brought in terrorist groups and others. It is essential for them to stand on their own, and they can only do that if they can read and write to start with. So that's only a beginning, but essential.
We have an administration that seems to be totally resistant to getting involved. They don't want to help, and they don't want to be part of the solution. If you continue that policy, that means you remain part of the problem.
Fundamentally, what we have to do is help Syrians now get to work, get their education, maintain their health care, provide better housing than they have. This crisis has been a crisis for 7+ years. It's going to have an impact for the next generation or more. And the only way to help is to invest in it. This is a political decision that has not been made yet. So the political capital hasn't been invested. We need political capital invested now, along with financial and human capital.